Alright, what is up, guys? It is day number 6 now, and today we're going to be talking about high school wrestling, and more specifically, my background in wrestling, my experiences in it, and why it really has changed my life. To start things off, I'm going to show you this is one of those like things you can put on your varsity jacket. I never bought one, but it's like that badge. We won states my senior year for my high school, and that was back in 2015, and that was absolutely crazy. From freshman year, seeing the process all the way through senior year, and actually achieving that goal, achieving the dream really was something else. And sometimes I still don't believe it. It's past 2 years later, and just looking back on all those events that happened leading up to it, it's just kind of crazy to look at. We went from a team freshman year coming in the senior class. Our freshman year was pretty good. And I remember thinking, wow, this is the dream team, right? I was like, this is crazy. These guys are good. I never wrestled before, but I could tell on the talent and skill level and the way we worked hard through every practice. I was like, these guys are good. And they fell short at the state tournament. They had an early exit in semis, or yeah, I believe semifinals, and it was heartbreaking, even as a freshman, and not really being a part of it, but knowing how much hard work goes into those 4 years for them, and to see them fall short was awful. And I honestly didn't think we'd have a chance, at least back in freshman year. I didn't really think that we could make it that far and actually achieve a state championship. For us, it was more hopeful and wishful thinking, and as we got into sophomore year, that team was decent, but we never made the states. Junior year, it was just we had no upperclassmen. As juniors, we were the top in our wrestling school, and we did pretty good, but we could tell we had a lot of improvement. But the confidence after our junior year, we ended in districts. We didn't even get to regionals, but we could tell we were onto something, and the belief going from junior year to senior year, we knew we were going to be a team that could definitely make the run. But in those 4 years, we really put in a ton of work. And when other people look at our championship, they might see something that just kind of happened to be lucky, but when we take a look back on all the work we put in, it's ridiculous. We put in crazy amounts of work, a lot of running, a lot of practicing, a lot of techniques and drilling. We put in the work necessary, and it ended up paying off for us in a really awesome and spectacular way. It really did change my life. And wrestling as a sport changed my life as a whole because it just taught me so many valuable lessons. And I think the most valuable lesson that I've learned is that everything in life after wrestling is easy. And to kind of break that down, it's not so much that every task that I do is easy. The hard tasks are still hard. It's that I know I've been through a lot worse, like starving, like being dehydrated, or sitting in a sauna with sauna suits on, or having to push through pain that other people might not think they can push through. But if you wrestle, you're going to hit those walls every single day. I mean, that's the point in our practice, was to mentally break us down so when it happens in a match, we'd be ready. And our coaches were very good at really systematically breaking us down, and physically and mentally, to get us both sides, and so that we were prepared for anything thrown at us. And I think in the state tournament, I think I'll do a separate video on it later, but in the state tournament, that wasn't our best tournament that we wrestled. We happened to win, but there was a lot of pieces that kind of shifted around that maybe otherwise shouldn't have. But when those pieces shifted out, other pieces were able to fill in the gap and create a new boundary, right? A new whole team again to create that one single goal, and that was winning the championship. Not everything goes right all the time, and I think that's another important lesson in wrestling that taught me is there's so many things that can go wrong, and there's but you have to control the controllables. What we can control is how hard we work. Being on weight, that was a struggle for me. Anything that you control, that's what you have to worry about. You can't worry about what the ref's going to call. You can't worry about the other person. You have to worry about yourself. And in a team sport like wrestling, it's a team made up of individuals. If every individual of a 14-man team doesn't do their part, then the team suffers, right? If that one guy doesn't produce in his match, then the team suffers. So you have to take care of yourself, and by taking care of yourself, you're taking care of the team. Wrestling is something that I first said I would never let my kid do, just because of the amount of suffering I went through and the amount of suffering my friends went through, my teammates. But as I grow older, again, only 20 years old, but I keep seeing reminders of why wrestling was so important to me and why it really has helped me out in life. And it gives me a better perspective on things. I have a better mindset because of wrestling. I can look at something that's otherwise hard to other people or very difficult, and I can look at it as just a normal task, right? And the thing is, in a lot of jobs, especially in landscaping, you'd see people praying to get to that break, right? Praying to get to 12 o'clock so they can have lunch. But I would always just work through it. I'd work through my lunch and I'd get that extra 30 minutes on my paycheck because I don't really have to worry about being hungry because I know I've been through worse. You know, that's a good thing, right? It sounds awful because you've been through worse, and man, was there some low points, but knowing that you can push through that and knowing that really there's a lot worse that can happen is a really good way to show where you're at and your mindset. Just that 4 years was a crazy time, and I don't like to dwell on the past. Like, I don't like to look at the state championship and say, wow, what a great achievement, that's probably the greatest I'll ever do, because I don't believe that. And a really good quote or statement my coach said at our wrestling banquet was, don't let this achievement be the greatest thing you ever achieve. Let it be a reminder that you can achieve great things. And that's a really powerful quote. I mean, that's something that I think about a lot, almost every day. I remember I wrote it down just so I could always remember that quote. I mean, it's a really good quote, and that can apply to everybody. Everybody's got something that sticks out to them that was a really great moment, whether it's a state championship or maybe it was 4.0ing in high school, or maybe it was getting into the college you're in, or whatever it was. There is a certain achievement that you've done in your life that is the highest, right? But it should never be the highest. It should never be permanent, right? It's like you have so much great qualities in you and you have so much potential, then why just stop there? Every achievement should be a reminder that you can achieve great things. And by dwelling on the past, I think it stops you from moving forward. So I like to see it as a reminder, see it as something that, yeah, it was really cool at the time, and still I kind of don't believe it just because of how much work we put in, but if I just keep dwelling on it, then it really will be the greatest achievement I'll ever achieve. And getting past that point, I think if I want to make something a better achievement, right, I have to pass the amount of work I put into those 4 years and the amount of work I put in to get that state championship, right? It's like you created a new threshold, and if you don't pass that, then you're never going to pass what the achievement means to me. The reason the state championship means so much to me is not because we won the state tournament, right? If we were just given it, then it wouldn't mean anything. But it's looking back on those 4 years and realizing that we went from nothing to becoming the best and ranked nationally in the nation. It's crazy. So it's the process that makes any achievement worth it. And I think another thing by Gary Vaynerchuk is he loves the process, and a lot of successful people like the process. It's the wins and it's the failures, and I think it's the failures more than anything, because when you can see what you've overcome, then it just makes everything that much better once you actually complete what you've been going after. We had such a clear vision about winning the state championship, but the road that it took to get there we would have never imagined. And I think that's a vital part of what I'm missing in my life right now is the goal, right? For those 4 years, it was pretty easy. We wanted the state championship, so we knew a basic outline of what we had to do. We knew there was going to be a lot of work towards it. For me right now in my personal life, I don't exactly know what I want to go after, so it's hard. I know that I can work hard at anywhere I'm at, but if I'm stuck at jobs or doing things that aren't really making progress towards something that I want to go after, then it's just hard to wake up, right? It's hard to wake up to jobs that you know you could advance in, but that you'll never stay in. So it's always going to be that next job, and that next job you're going to work up, and then that next job or that same job you're going to end up quitting because it's not what you want to do. I could, if I really want to work at where I'm working now, I won't disclose the place just because legal reasons. But I'm sure I could work up to a managerial position or find my way into corporate later. But I don't want to. That's not my passion. That's not my drive, right? That's not what I want to do. I'd rather create something of my own, or I'd rather, well, that's that's the whole issue right there. I don't know what I want to do, but once I find it, it's just going to be wrestling all over again. It's going to be that single goal in the back of my mind, and nothing is going to stop me from achieving it, right? I'm going to go through those highs and lows, those failures and wins, but it's the process that is really going to be the part that is going to beat you down, but it's going to be enjoyable at the same time. It's what I want to do. It's what I want to go back into, right? I hate just being outside that process. I hate not being able to know what I'm going after. So hopefully soon I will be able to find it, but I think just looking back on wrestling and knowing I have that background it helps me. And possibly I might do something along the lines of wrestling. Maybe not wrestling itself, but a combat sport, just because I really do think that I love it. So it's me about making moves and going towards that goal. Um, it's hard to end this video because I don't know how to end it. But I guess the best way to end it is to just revise that quote or review it or go back over it. And that is, don't let your greatest achievement be the best thing you ever achieve or the greatest thing you ever achieve. Let it be a reminder that you can achieve great things. So that's the end of day 6. I'll see you back here for day 7 tomorrow. We possibly do the Texas story part 2 tomorrow. I guess we'll see. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.